welcome or welcome back everybody. This is my January series in which I'm going to be using all the lovely ephemera that we made during the dephemerember challenge last month, and I'm going to be putting it into these two journals. So in my last video I showed you how I upcycled this book into a journal, and this one I had made prior to the challenge starting. So they're both ready to go, and there's 2 weeks left in January, so no pressure, right? Or actually probably a bit less than that. Anyway, so I'm going to start with this smaller journal, and what I've done is I've separated all the ephemera I made into two piles. So this one, I don't know if you can see most of that. Yep. This is the pile of stuff that's small enough to fit into this journal, and then I have another pile that's too big for this journal but will go in the other one. Now I'm not saying all of this is going to go in here, but it's the stuff that's the right size. And then I also have things like my snippet roll, which can be cut to fit either. So given that I want to get these done by the end of the month, what I've decided to do is I'm going to do a few pages off camera and then come on, show you what I've done and do a couple more things on camera. And I'm going to try and do that a couple of times a week for the rest of the month. So we may get them all done, we may not, but let's see. Okay, so I have made a start on this, and my front page was a well, it is going to be my front page. These signatures at the moment are just in with a bit of elastic, like a traveller's journal, but they're not going to stay like that, or traveller's notebook. Once I've finished and I know exactly how many pages I want and where, I will be stitching them in. But for now, my front page is this one. It says December. This was a page from an Edith Holden book. And as you will see, I've just simply used one of the, I want to say topper. It's not a topper. It's a cluster. Oh, goodness, that's not a good start, is it? Anyway, I've added one of my clusters on there with just a little bit of coffee dyed doily down the side. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing two journals is that I like to keep a journal when I've done a challenge, and they almost become reference books for me, you know, reference art journals or ideas books, and I'll go back and I'll have a look and see what I did in a particular challenge. So this one is for me to keep. And so here at the front I've used the Snacks and Stash label. It's got the date, and I've turned it into a little belly band and stuck the prompt list in there. Now this lovely sticker that says volume number 2 came in my swap box from my lovely swap partner Gurjana at Diary of a Creative Therapist, and I thought that was really apt because this is the second time that I've participated in dephemerember. So last year was the first time and this is the second, so I thought that was quite apt to pop on there. Oh, and on the top is just a little one of the tabs that we made on the very first day, the page tabs there. All right, so I did those pages, and I've actually planned the next couple to show you in today's video. So let's get started. All right, so my first page is obviously the back of the Edith Holden page, and we've got this beautiful little wren here which I don't want to cover up, and it fits with the, you know, the sort of vintagey theme that I'm going for. So if you watched my some of my videos for dephemerember, you might have seen me using these. Now again, these came in my swap box, and these are corner pockets, and they're really cool. They're just like a little plastic triangle which is sticky on one side, and it forms a pocket. And so they're really easy to use. And the lovely thing about it is that anything that you put in them, you still see. And I thought, wouldn't that be really cool on this page, because then we're not going to be losing any of this lovely background. So I found a little tag that I made during the challenge, and my thoughts are to put this on here, and the tag will tuck in. You will see most of the wren, and then when you pull it out, you will see the whole page. I've got a couple more of these circles as well, and I might add a couple of those in just to sort of mirror the circles on here and tie the whole thing together. So quick and easy page really. And I'm wondering whether this is something that I'm going to find as I carry on creating these journals. I'm just concentrating just to get this straight. Yeah, there we go. See what I mean? You still see all the lovely background underneath, and then you just pop things in. Look at that. Right, I'll carry on talking while I'm working if I can. Yes, so I'm wondering whether that's something that I will find as I start creating these journals, is that things, because you've done all this compartmental making, whether that does make the journal sort of quick and easy to put together. You can see this one's cut from an Edith Holden page, so I might use that one. Let's have a look. Oh, no, actually I like that one better. Yes, so I'm wondering whether, as I say, with the compartmental making, whether this is actually going to mean that when you come to put your journal together, you've got everything and it is pretty quick and easy. So that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on, because, as I said in my last video, I really enjoyed, once I got into the compartmental making idea, I really enjoyed it, and it's something I could see me doing again in the future. But what I wanted to check was that it then worked for me in terms of putting, creating a journal. So there we go. As I said, this page has got quite a lot on already. It's a lovely picture page, and so I'm just going to do that. That's going to be it. Right, this page is plainer. Let's just put that to the side, because of course my brain is now going, oh, that could be useful for something. Mr. Jem forever is kind of rolling his eyes, because he has a piece of packaging and he knows now. He starts to put it into the recycling, and then he looks at me and looks at the packaging and goes, are you using this? All right. I've got these journal cards that we made, and I can't remember which prompt these were for, actually. I'll have a look and see. I love these. I love how they turned out. I made like a masterboard and then cut them up, and I have to say, I think they're one of my favourite pieces. And at the time I thought, oh, I might well add other things to them when they go into the journals, but do you know what? I just love them as they are. I am going to ink the edges, just to sort of finish them off, really. But I love them. They've got lots of detail, texture. They've got the texture paste on them, and they've got all the colours. In fact, I'll just pull this out, and while I'm inking them, I'll have a look and see if I can remember which prompt they were for. Let's have a look. Was there something with texture? Do you know, it feels like it was such a long time ago. Oh, I suppose we've had Christmas and New Year and our business is busy. Oh, I think actually maybe these were the journaling cards and tiny letters, because if I just go into my box here that's got the bigger items in, yeah, here we are. So they had the tiny letters on the back. Look, there we are. But as I say, I made a masterboard in order to make them, and the smaller ones I didn't put anything on the back. And as I say, I love them as they are. I sometimes think less is more, and what I've done, oh, it's a big fly. What I've done is made a hidden paper clip, because I think also this is lovely journaling space. Now what I am going to do, so I'm going to clip these onto here, but what I'm going to do first is just to put a little bit of stenciling on here, because I do want this to be available as journaling space. But sometimes when you look at something like this, it's a little bit daunting if it's completely plain, and or it is for me, and it's like, I'm not sure I want to write on that. So bear with me just a second. Right, this is what I wanted to find, was this little stencil, because I think it mimics the berries on the page over here quite nicely. And all I'm going to do is, I'm not going to use all of it, just with my brush, I'm just going to add a little bit of something onto this page. Oh, we should have taken it out, shouldn't I? That's why I did them on the elastic. Never mind. There we go. And that for me is enough to take away that sort of fear of the blank page, if you like, and just adds in a little bit of something. Okay, so I've got my hidden paper clip here, and I'm going to slide that on, tuck one in there, and then I'm going to come over the other side and tuck one in there. All right, now just really quickly, I'm sure most of you know how to make hidden paper clips, but just in case there's those of you who are new to scrapbooking or you haven't seen this technique before, I'm just going to show you a really quick way, because we didn't make these in the dephemerember challenge this year. So you will see I've started off, and these are just made from scraps. This is the lovely thing about hidden paper clips like this, you just use scraps. 2 scraps of thick paper or thin card. I've rounded the corners. Oh, one needs to be a little bit smaller than the other. That's what I needed to say, sorry. I've rounded the corners and inked the edges, and as you will see, all I've done is fold them in half. Now they're going to sit like this, one on top of the other. So what I'm going to do is to take the top one. Oh, look, that's interesting, that side as well, isn't it? Could use either side on that one. I'm going to take the top one, sorry, I digress. And I'm going to use my craft knife. Where that fold is, oh, more fingers and thumbs today. I'm going to line up the paper clip with the fold, and it's in the middle this way. Using my craft knife, I'm going to put a little slit along that fold, just fractionally bigger than the paper clip. so that you can poke it through like that. Okay, and then that goes over that bigger piece, and we're going to fold the top bit down. Now I can get that centered like that, and then we're just going to glue. Really simple. And I find it easier to glue this piece, and I always put a little bit extra in the middle there. Fold it down, turn it over, do the same thing. And this is so quick and easy. And this is another lovely thing for compartmental making, really. And it's great. I sometimes sit in the evening and make a whole bunch of these just from scraps. And you don't have to, you know, like compartmental making, you don't have to decorate them. You can leave them just like that. And then when you're ready to use them, you could add something on or put the lace or the ribbon or whatever you want in. So that's the next thing. I've got a little bit of green ribbon here. It's a scrap left over. Poke it through about halfway, and then I like to, just before the glue dries, push that paper clip down so it's as far down as it goes. All right, now this glue is quite good. I have a, you know, it gives me a couple of minutes before it dries completely, and you can see that's pushed right down now. And you can tie this, you can stitch it, you can do whatever you like. There we go, and there's your hidden paper clip. Really simple. I'm going to put that one to one side because I'm sure I will use it in my journal. And as you can see, this one I just added a little butterfly on from my stash, which sort of, again, it picks up the theme of the butterfly that's over here and the colours in the journaling card. All right, so those two are done. Now my next page, and I know I can move these, but my next page is vellum, and I'd quite like to leave that as it is because I have this that I made, and this was the, I think it was envelopes, owls and leaves. And so here is the little envelope, and we have a little journaling card in here that I made during the dephemerember challenge, and a little tag on the front with an owl and a bit of a dangle. And I think I really like this as it is, and so I'm going to attach this in here. I'm going to glue the flap down so that it's, I don't know whether you'd call it a hidden pocket or a flip out, either or. But when the vellum page is over the top, you will still get a little glimpse of that owl. Now, there was something else I was going to do. Let me just have a rummage because I've got a pile of stuff just here. There was something else I wanted to add to that page. Right, hold on one moment. This is what I'd thought about. Just so that this vellum is not completely plain, I want to add this, a little bit of lace just along the side of the page here. Now, I am going to pull this out on, that's just a, what do you call, a tip in. So that's easy. So I'm going to pull this out. Actually, I might keep that there so that it doesn't stick to my paper. Now, I'm not sure how my vellum is going to react to the glue, but we'll see. You know, this is the other advantage of not having your pages stuck in, is that if the worst happens and it really does go wrong, it doesn't matter because you don't need to put the page in. That's my theory anyway. Flip most things you can get around, can't you? But just sometimes these things go so wrong. Right, now what my theory is, that lace has got a brown mark on it. It is upcycled, so it could be anything. Right, so I'm going to trim this off. I'm going to see how that looks when it's dry. I may stick something over it. Okay, just a little bit more there down at the bottom. Now what, if I can achieve it, what I would like to do is to stick this over the back, matching the pattern. So if you see, that's yuck, yeah, I don't know what that is. Matching that pattern so that it looks the same from both sides. Does that make sense? Now obviously with this I can just go, because it's going to be in the same place, I can use that as a template. And hopefully this will work. Okay, let me have a look. Oh yeah, can you see that? That's the same, the pattern is in the same place both sides. Oh, I'm really annoyed about that. Can I, is it going to come off? No, it's stained vellum. All right, we might have to put something over that. As I said, I don't like that brown mark particularly, but I do have some cute little butterflies, of course. Or I'm wondering whether I might have another little owl to go there. I will have a look. Right, so let's put that to the side to dry. Over there. We'll just have a slurp of tea. That's better. And this is my page that the little pocket is going to be on. And again, you can see that lace is the same, so you know, we pick up that same pattern again. Now I would really like, again, I would really like something just in the background here. And I have another stencil from that same set actually, which you know, is it I think it looks a bit like fir, you know, a pine tree. Sorry, I'm just hunting for my brush. Because this is sort of autumn leaves and autumn colours, I'm actually going to, now let's think about where this is going to go. Do I want this central? I think I do, in which case I'm going to have that stencil just coming up this side and potentially the other side. There we go, not a lot, just a hint of colour. Let's just wipe that off because I want to turn it over so that the pattern is reversed coming up this side, so that it sort of frames up the envelope, if that makes sense. Oh goodness, wrong thing. There we go. So now when we put that on, it doesn't look quite so plain. We've got a little bit of interest in the background, and then that's going to open up like this. So just need some glue on the flap. Hold all those bits out of the way. Yep. There we go. All right. Now before I do any more, I am going to see what I've got to go on here and put that back in. It's not quite dry yet, but I'm just going to have a check in my boxes, and so I would quite like, I think, if I've got a small one, I would quite like a little owl on there. But let's go and have a look. Well, do you know, I must have used up the last of my stash of owls when we did this prompt, but what I do have found, of course, is one of the little page tabs we made on the very first day of dephemerember, and this is great. This will cover up that nasty brown stain. I don't know what that is. As I say, I use a lot of upcycled things, so it may just have been on the lace, but look, this is big enough to cover it both sides, and just adds another cute little layer of stuff. And then when we put that back together, that owl is just going to peek through. All right, I'm going to pop that to the side to finish drying properly, and then we'll flip over and have a look and see what's coming next. All right, for this next page, I want to use this little floating pocket that I made, and this was quite an early prompt. I think it was floating pocket and bold numbers maybe, and I turned a little mini envelope into this floating pocket, and I love this, and I love both sides of it. So I've been sitting here just trying to work out how to put it in. I've got quite a patterned background here, but I think it looks really cool, and it just sits on the widest part of the page here. Now I could just put this on like this, but I want to do something a little bit more interesting. I'm loving it at the moment. This is some coffee dyed doily, and let me show you. They were long ones like this. I think they sell them to go on serving platters. And I coffee dyed them. And what it means is that you get a nice straight piece, and it's almost like paper lace, rather than being restricted to the curves of a round doily. So what my thoughts are is that I would like to put a piece of this under there. And I've also got this, which is a scrap of offcut from the cover. So I'm just going to tear that kind of a bit straighter. What I would like to do is to stick these like this, so that they sit just outside of the floating pocket. And then I want to attach the floating pocket with a hinge, because I don't want to lose any of it. And I've got this wide washi tape which has got script on it, and I'm thinking that I might be able to use that as the hinge. What that means, however, is that I'm going to have these pieces trying to think this through after my fun and games of making the second journal and not quite thinking it through. I'm going to cut these in a straight line down here and just line them up with the edge of the floating pocket, And that way when you turn it over, you won't see it here, you'll just see the decorative washi. So let's do that, and then I'm going to make a couple of things to go in this pocket, and I think that will probably be a long enough video for today. In hindsight, what I could have done was brought this just slightly over the front of this envelope to reinforce that hinge. My fear is at the moment that is, can you see that's moving? It needs a little bit of something to hold it on this side. So I found this other washi. It's got a little bit of script on, but it's fairly unobtrusive. And I'm going to create a hinge with that just to reinforce. But what I am going to do is to use glue, because this washi tape I know is not terribly sticky, and I don't want a really wide one, and I'm hoping that will just be enough to reinforce and just hold that without moving. So we'll leave that to dry, and that should just work like that. Now whilst that's drying, what I have here is I have a tuck spot on the front and a pocket at the back. And there's two things that I want to sort of simply and quickly create. I have a little tag here and a little butterfly sticker. The red of the tag doesn't really go with what I'm doing, so I'm just going to have a rummage in my not my stickers, in my little scrap box here. Oh, there we go, that's what I was looking for. That'll work on this side. Right. These pre-made tags I found, I think they came in a pot. Oh, back. In a pack of stuff I bought in an op shop. As you will know if you've watched any of my videos at all, I buy very little brand new. I upcycle a lot of things from op shop finds, or things that are being thrown out. And so these pre-made tags are great, really useful, but I don't want the red on the front. It's fine on the back, don't want it on the front. All right, what else do we need on there? Let's ink the edges and then we'll see. Do we need anything else? This is the question. And I will remake that hole and pop a eyelet in there in a moment. Do you know what? I think actually, no, I will leave the back as it is. That's fine. Don't mind a little pop of colour when we turn things over. Let's not lose the butterfly sticker. Right. I'll make it. Now that's going to be a little bit smaller than that hole, isn't it? That's okay. There we go. I'm not going to put an eyelet in. I said I was going to just now, didn't I? Or shall I? Oh yeah, why not? Let's grab them. Where have they gone? Some coloured ones here. Let's have a look. There's a little bit of yellow on here, and as it's going in here, I might pick up that little bit of yellow, and there's a little bit of yellow on the butterflies as well, so why not? Let's pop a little yellow, and if we put one of these on the back, it should just cover the fact that the original hole is, oh, two of them. The original hole is just slightly bigger. All right. There's some hole punch. Do you ever have those days you put things down that you've just used and you can't find them? Here we go. Right, sorry, this is noisy and it jogs the camera, I realised the other day. I'm seriously looking into getting something like a crocodile. But it's a big investment of money for me. So, do you know, I'd be really interested. What's your experience? Are they worth buying? Or have you found something else that works as well or better? I'd be really keen because it is a lot of money, which is why I don't have one. And I don't want to spend it and then find that, you know, it's really difficult to use or whatever. Okay, I'm going to turn that on the slant and I'm just going to put something else under it. And of course I'm inking the edges. Once you start inking edges, do you find that you know, can't stop? Oh, look. Oh, sorry. There's a little bit of Would that work, do you think? Actually, that would probably work on a tag like that without the butterflies, wouldn't it? How robust would it be? Would I need to put something over it? Do you know, I'm going to put that to the side and I might make another one of these later on, but with that and some, maybe with a little bit of vellum or something over the top. I love it when all these ideas spark off each other. No, do you know, I think it might need a little bit of yellow. Let's just see what I can find here in my scraps. Yeah, that'll be all right. Do you know, back last year, I did buy a little set of drawers, plastic drawers, and each drawer is a different colour, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's about 8 or 9 of them. And do you know what? I went through all my scraps and pieces of paper like this, and I colour coded them into the drawers. And what it means now is that I can find things so much more easy, so much more easily. Anyway, I can find things, and it means I'm actually using up. We'll go just on the slant there. I'm actually using up a whole load of bits and pieces. All right. I think that's good as it is. I don't. Do we want a bit of? I'll hang fire on the whether I want something in there or not for a minute. It's not quite standing out enough for me. Hang on. Oh. All right. Oh, that's quite red as well. Never mind. That's right. Oh no, it is more of an orangey brown. This is just a gel pen, and I'm just, as you can see, going around the edge, or not, as the case may be. Give it a little bit more definition. That'll do. Right, stop. Okay. That's going to go in the front. I don't mind the red on the back. That's fine. We'll tuck that in a minute. Now I'm going to do one more thing. Let's make a bit of space. Let's not lose that. Make a bit of space. Okay. I was fascinated when I watched Louise Heinzel make these during the dephemerember challenge. And I couldn't resist having a go. Now, I don't know that mine came out quite as well as hers, but I really love it. And I will find her video. I can't remember which prompt it was for off the top of my head, but I will find her video and link it below for you so that you can watch her making these. But anyway, I had a go, and I've got a couple of these that have been sat on my desk ever since. And what I have figured out with this one, I really want to use them because, as I said, it was made during dephemerember and I loved it. This fits beautifully into this little pocket like this, you see. So I thought, well, yeah, I could just stick it in like that. But what I then did was took a coffee dye piece of paper and I've cut it to the right size. And I'm going to stick this to the front, and then I'm going to fold this so that it makes like a little fold out notepad, journaling spot, whatever you want to call it. So my first thing is this first one is folded to the right. Now I'm actually going to use some silicone glue, which is just a bit stronger. Now this glue's great, and it just takes a little while because I'm right at the end of this pot. It takes a little while to run to the end. So I'm going to stand that up on its end and wait for a minute. I don't think that's strong enough. So I'm going to stick that to there. So what I'm going to do, and you can see I've sort of started doing this, I'm just going to do like an accordion fold. Now, I don't want this to be too bulky because it does have to go into that pocket. So we'll try it just with 4 like that. the corners of this pill packet are rounded. Let's try that one. I'll see if we can get them all in. Oh yeah, should be just about enough. So that should now just go on there. That's it. Okay, let's see if our silicone glue is playing ball now. Oh yes, that's good. Here we go. And I'm actually only just going to glue around the edge, I think, like that. Good. I better flip those other bits out just so that it doesn't all Actually, the other thing I have just thought about is if we go back to our page tabs again that we made right at the start. Now I don't want it to be too bulky, but what I could do with one of these, it would just add a little bit of something, wouldn't it? What's going to go? Maybe one of those. I feel like I need some more of these already. These have got the edges inked, look. Yeah, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pop that on there. Let's get it in the middle. And of course what we can then do is, here we go, just pop it on with a stapler, and that saves the issues of getting things to stick to the textured surface. Oh, there we go, I quite like that. Let's put these tabs out of the way for a minute. Look at that, there we go. So we've got a little, let's clean off the glue before it sticks itself together. There we go, we've got a little flip out journaling spot. We've got our tag. So tag's going to go in the little tuck spot here, and we're going to put a little journaling one in there, just right. There we go. All right, folks, I suspect that that's a long enough video for today. Okay, just before we finish up, let's have a quick flick back and see what we've done today. I hope some of this is useful for you, either in terms of giving you ideas about how to use the ephemera you created in dephemerember, or inspiring you to have a go. And of course I will link my playlist at the end of this video, so if you want to look back and see how I've made any of the things that you've seen me using, do feel free to check out those videos. All right, for now I'm going to say stay safe, happy crafting. I'll be back later in the week. Ka kite anō.